Hi everyone, I'm here with Violet Magdalena, Mistress Violet, and we were talking about this retreat, this spiritual dominatrix retreat that we're offering in Miami for the winter solstice, and we thought we should just record our conversation to give you guys a better idea of what we're up to. Violet, hi, tell me about what you're up to lately and who you are.
Hi, Erin. Yeah, so let's see. I've been working in the sensual, kind of kinky, playful domination field for like 10 years now. And I just recently released a course that teaches sensual massage. So it's kind of like everything that I could get into the course from 10 years of doing it, I put into the course. And a lot of it is about, there's some about the techniques and the skills, the actual like hands-on training aspect. And there's a lot of videos demonstrating that. But it's also really about like dropping into that sensual body. And so, and everybody can do that, and I know specifically we're talking about women and dropping into sort of like the power of the yoni and like letting that kind of be like the guiding force, especially when we're relating to men, like when we're in intimate play with men, to instead of like getting into the headspace, to just keep tuning back into the body, into like the vagina, into the heart, into the nipples, into all of that code energy running through us, and then letting that direct the play
I love
and
it.
the connection.
And then what is it like to, this just draws up because what is it like to walk through the world connected to our bodies like that? I mean, how powerful is that? Like we think about the yin and the feminine as being this kind of like this soft um thing that just kind of waits to be noticed or it overpowers by disappearing. But I think we're living in a time when that true feminine energy needs to come full force and power into our humanity, into our reality, and people are trying to figure out what that looks like. But the vision that I got, it's the way you walk through the world, it's the way I walk through the world, just like deep connection to our
Mhm.
bodies.
Right. And I think that's also challenging because of the constant onslaught, like, especially living in cities, where there's just constant external stimulation. So to be able to like keep tuning into the body when the body's going like, you gotta get out of here is tricky.
Yeah, I mean it's
Tricky.
like I have sometimes I get to work like in secret retreat centers or whatever. I remember this one experience I had and I was like so amazing. I got to because I do body work too. People call me, I mean, the term, the name of the retreat is spiritual dominatrix because people, my clients kind of jokingly call me that. And I'm not really like, I don't advertise myself as a dominatrix. I'm a healer, but it is the feminine power and the intuition and the strength and the force of that, like taking over and sharing it with others and helping them to heal. And um I got to work with this guy who's been an advisor to the most of the last presidents, like except Trump. And he's like, "So tell me about your business ideas." And I was like, "Well, I really think people need to come back into their bodies. Like this is a missing element here. You can call it somatic, you can call it whatever you want, but it's like our bodies are they're like our thermometer, and they're our signal of what's right and wrong, and our emotions happen in our bodies as a physical, and he agreed. He was like, that is the missing element in humanity.
Yeah.
And to get that
Yeah.
from somebody who knows, like who talks to the highest people dominating the world, I was like, all right,
Isn't
something.
that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that going back into the body is, of course, like the yogic teachings and the ancient teachings and the, indigenous cultures, and it's like all very body centered.
Yeah. Tell me about
So,
your path of
yeah.
study. Like you pull from so many resources.
Yeah. So. My path started out with my own health kind of journey, and I got into herbal medicine and like plant medicine, and I was like really deep into the plant medicine path, like herbal medicine path, not necessarily psychedelics. Um, and then from there, it was like, the ecology around me, the ecosystem, and it was just always like the spiritual aspect of that, because just there's just a natural communication with plants that I've always had, even when I was a little girl in the city, I would like find the little places and be like the trees, and there's these little plants and like the little, so so then it was the healing journey from there. And then I started doing like Kundalini yoga, started working with the Kundalini energy, like directly and specifically. And it was around that like 2012, 2013 era when it was kind of like a Kundalini awakening happened. And then 2014, it was just very clear, like God was just very clear to me, like, okay, you have to start doing sensual massage. Like that's what you're doing now. So I started doing it. It was very natural. It's a very natural thing to do for me. I think it's a very natural thing to do for many people.
Yeah.
I think that the block is just the mental blocks. Um, but anyways, I think we all have that like sensual connection, telepathic body connection. And, I've taken various trainings here and there, but to be honest, like I really learned sensual massage from when I started working in like a parlor, like just a sensual massage parlor. And, the woman who ran it, she had worked in brothels, and she was, um, she was she was like a darker character, she had like addictions that she was dealing with, and she was making money, but she was still carrying those like dark feminine codes, and she was able to transmit it really well. And it was just within like a few months of working with her that I was just like, boom, everything I need. And then I just went and started practicing on my own.
Hmm.
And I did some like tantric trainings, to kind of get into the chakras and working through the chakras and moving the energy through the chakras. And then the domination piece, or the kinky piece, because I'm definitely more of a playful dominatrix. There's a lot of very stern, leather bound, and I like leather, but like I'm more of a playful, kinky, um, tantric dominatrix, where we're kind of psychologically gonna tune in and experiment. And that came through a lot of practice with people and a little bit of training, but mostly it was just people coming and saying like, "Oh, this is the thing that I like," and then I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. I just want to express it
Yeah,
so I can understand it, and I
yeah,
can't. So
right.
this is the thing too, is like, I mean, you and I talk a lot about like, and I think this is people, a lot of women are wondering about this because we're wondering how to be in our feminine, and I do a lot of research, just it's interesting, but it's like, just, quietly rest and wait to receive and pillow princess, and never try to like go out chase, and never, like just wait to be guided by the masculine and all of that. But then there's a lot of women that are just sitting there waiting around, or they're in relationships where they don't feel like their voice is being heard, or they're not totally expressing themselves, and they hold it in for a long time, and they try to just be it's very confusing because it doesn't feel natural, and then they kind of explode.
Right.
And men, I think, I remember I had this huge download. It's like, why these really like men in power, like men in governmental power, even, why are they such misogynists? And it's like, well, probably because women turn into shells around them, and they don't even understand, like they want this thing from women,
Yeah.
and they don't even know what it is, and they never see it because the women are just so submissive, and they think that's the feminine. But it's like, actually there's these archetypes of the Durga and the Kali and the empowered feminine
And
force,
the
that men are
secretary. Yeah.
coming, yeah, they're coming to you for that. They're not getting emasculated by that. They're actually coming to you.
Right.
I think it's so cool you're coming from this educated spiritual point of view and offering this to men so they get to
Right.
express their masculinity.
Right. And I think for women, there's the like that shutdown that you're talking about.
The
That,
fawning.
yeah, the fawning and the shutdown and the aversion,
Hmm.
they're in the kind of, and I think some of that comes from trying, like maybe not feeling supported by the masculine, feeling like you have to kind of be controlling. And then it kind of morphs into resentment, bitterness, and just complete aversion. So it's like, yeah, how do we hold our space? Maybe your man or the men you're around are very energetically strong, you know? And how do we hold our feminine strength like in equal measure and not get overwhelmed by that, but also let ourselves rest in it? Because
Yeah.
like when I'm around like a masculine man, there is a part of me that feels a little bit more at rest when I go about the world. Like it feels like I can kind of like a little bit,
Yeah.
like there's a protection, and that's nice. But then
So
at the same
nice.
time, yeah, it's so nice, right? But then at the same time, like that can become overwhelming over time if I'm not meeting it
Yeah.
with my own like femininity and my own like sensuality and directness and that like letting the desires lead, tuning
Yeah.
into the desire.
Yeah. It's like, what's the difference between tuning into the desires and like nagging and controlling and manipulating? And it's just, I think one of the issues is that like the reason why women shut down and lose ourselves in I mean it's in relationship with men, but also just in our lives. Like we lose ourselves in the servicing of other people, because this workshop or this retreat, it's not just for like partnered women or women who want to be, professional body worker, yoga teacher, tantric worker, whatever. Like it's just like women who want to understand our truth and our feminine expression like in totality to like give it to the world, right? And I think a
Mhm.
lot of women, they'll get in the face of that masculine energy or that ability to kind of submit, and they don't know what to do besides just weaken and service.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which,
And then the men
in,
get annoyed
yeah, yeah.
and they
Which,
lose interest.
right. And one way to work with that is I think of it as a very tantric way is to go into it. So like that urge to be like very submissive, where does like where does that go all the way at the end? I did spend some time in a relationship where I because I also had that urge, right? I think it's maybe a natural woman urge for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I let myself go there, like go all the way to the end of just being very submissive, just like the like kind of cosmic slut level of submissive. And it was like a
The
lot of
spiritual
fun.
dominatrix and the cosmic slut.
Yeah, yeah. And it was a lot of fun. And it taught me about boundaries and fierceness and but also like it got rid of a lot of that aversion, a lot of that like wall, putting up the wall and having to kind of like
It's
that.
just that hardening is actually when
Yeah,
we, whether you want to call it going over to the masculine or whatever, it's like so impenetrable.
right,
A lot of women are
exactly.
in
It's
it
a
just is
hard
like
wound.
and it's
Yeah, yeah, for me it
really.
was a hard wound. It was that like original kind of um feeling of being hurt by the masculine, by men.
Yeah,
And so that was one of the techniques that really pulled me out of that space.
it's amazing.
Just playing with it, just getting really kinky with that part that wants to be submitted.
And what I'm hearing too is you were identifying, you're just really clear about what you wanted to experience and you went completely into it. And,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think a lot of women, it's like we're not even, I know I had this, and the teachers that I've had helped me with this. We're not even clear on what we want. Like
Yeah,
so many women, it's like we're just trying to do what other people want. We don't even realize until we lose ourselves and we get pissed about it, but we're like just trying to contort ourselves around what we think other people's desires are, and then people just are annoyed with us, and so they take us for granted because they want us to be in our truth. And so it's like if you want to be servicing, or if you want to be a cosmic slut, or if you want to be a like domineering, or if you want like something to happen in in a relationship or in an evening or in an experience, it's like, can you just admit it and clearly impart it?
Right. Right. I think shame is a big part of the whole, the issue. It's like
Tell me
that
more
big
about that.
wall of just a big wall of shame. Like, I mean, like just from my own experience of like going into the cosmic slut, I would say that part of me was with me, from adolescence, from when I became a sexual being in this lifetime, probably many lifetimes before. I'm sure it wasn't the first go round, but but I held that part back because of shame, just like, oh my gosh, like that's such a terrible thing to do or to be. And when I let that go, well, I let the shame go, and just was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it anyways. This is what I want. And just tuning in with the actual desire in the womb, and the actual desire in the body, um, and going with it. And now also, like I said, it taught me a lot about boundaries and about like maybe more purified desires. Like
Like,
it
what
was
are your
almost like,
true boundaries
yeah, exactly. It almost was like maybe even a karmic imprint that needed to be kind of burned out a little bit.
from
I could
you
get to
and feminine in general?
yeah, exactly.
So I think something, because I love our combination. We're both 3-5 manifestors, right? Um,
Yeah.
I've focused all of my attention on kind of like thousands and thousands of hours of deep connection that's not sexual with people, and of course in my private life, I have a really, I can also take it into the sexual connection, but I wanted to like broaden my understanding of, because sexual energy is like gas on the fire, right? And then
Right.
you have really, really understood the sexual energy connection, and so as combined, it's like a full spectrum experience with it, right? And I I'm really interested in gathering a group of women in a really beautiful place next to water, in luxury, um,
Sunshine.
sunshine, like, and over multiple days. And it starts with a fast, whether it's like the complete Devi cleanse water fast or the juice fast or whatever. But and also we've been doing this work together virtually for a couple of 3 months beforehand. And so we're really armed with our truth, like we've discovered it alone, or like as individuals. And we've also really clarified our bodies, and we've really gotten
Right.
on our own. And so we come in this way, and then we like have a really deep experience with absolutely everything. It starts with breaking the fast together. We're doing yoga together. We're dancing. We're making art. We're getting into our bodies. We're even understanding all of the different energies that we have running through us that we have to give to other people. We're learning how to work on our bodies. We're learning how to share with other people. We're getting really clear on our desires and boundaries.
Mhm.
And
And
having, yeah.
I love the starting with the clean, the purifying the physical, so we can kind of clear that out of the way and then have that clean, energetic flow
Mhm.
with fasting and with the detox.
Mhm. And then the really clean food,
Yeah, really clean food.
personal
And
chef.
yes, and the grounding in nature with the, ocean and the sand and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then connecting the dipping into the space below the kind of super like the conscious mind, dipping into like a deeper brain, like the limbic system, the sensual body, and then starting to feel into, okay, how actually I can feel the people around me and I can sense them and I can feel like what is going on with them. and I can also do that with myself.
Mhm.
In each moment, I can feel with myself, like, where is my body switching? And like relating that as kind of a spiritual dominatrix, and relationships with others, it's like being present, just actually learning to be present in the sensual and sexual and deeper realms, how we're relating. So we're not abandoning ourselves, pretty much, is
Yeah.
what it comes down to. Yeah.
It's like
But
if we're
it's not just
deeply present. What? Sorry,
yeah.
go on.
It's not just this conscious mind process though. Like mindfulness is really awesome, and it's a lot about getting into the body, right? But it's not just mindfulness, because it's also like working with the codes in our yoni and the energy fields in our heart, and like the actual like energetic grids throughout our body.
Yeah. And feeling it, knowing how to access it so that we can just feel into it at any time.
Right.
And that's like true presence. It's funny how if we're truly present and our voice is open, we're able to just impart our truth. That makes us a dominatrix. But it's like it's so
Right.
powerful.
Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
And then
Just say, oh
also
my gosh, they're feeling in one stay.
it's also like I want to give women the tools that I have. Like I want to get a group of women together, and I've had the most amazing teachers. I've studied all that. I know you have too. That's what's really, and we have kind of similar skill sets but different. And I want to just give a group of women who are really clear and open away from our lives in this potent portal of the solstice in a beautiful place. And I just want to give them all of my tools and send them out in the world with like a lot of tools to integrate into their body, to connect with other people. And it's like not just, I mean, what to do in a sensual sexual sphere, right? Whether you're partnered or not. What to do when it's just it's not sexual, but it's like energetically charged, like how to relate to people on that level. And then how to be a healer, like just in our own way.
And tuning into desires,
Yeah.
and letting that lead.
That's so powerful. Um, made a little list of things to talk about, and I'm just going to bring up some of them. Um, like you said, I feel like we're in an era where women aren't able to sink into our softness, and that can turn into rigidity and control. Can you talk a little more about that? And how we're allowing men to be men, letting our soft, receptive side be, and holding our desires as center.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of women that I know, myself personally, it feels almost like we have to be a man and a woman to survive. We're kind of like in an in-between stage between like really traditional kind of family systems and whatever's coming in the future, whatever we're creating in the future, I guess. And the in-between definitely feels like, how do we have this natural desire for connection, either with women, men, whoever, you're attracted to. Um, but everybody's sort of, a lot of the men aren't carrying masculinity. Like the masculinity is kind of not that strong. So, I know for myself, let me just speak for myself personally. I would say 9 out of 10 men that I'm around, I feel like I could steamroll them. Like I just like, energetically, like I could just, and it might not seem like that at first, like people meet me, I'm petite, I'm whatever. Um, but that's the way it is. Like that's the way it is. So it's like, okay, there's either the 1 out of 10 men that I feel like I could actually start to be a little softer around, or I have to figure out like how can I be soft, even though I don't have a man to kind of be hard or to be protective,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's like letting God in, even.
Right.
I mean, I'm not partnered right now, and I think I hear this from women so much. They're like, I'm just not even gonna try unless it's perfect. Like
Mm,
I'm just not even going to be open unless it's like D1 and I'm not even, I'd rather be alone. I think
mm-hmm.
that's a big shift that's happening in the feminine, or I mean in people in general. A lot of men feel that way too. It's like, how do we connect? We've been, all of our old systems are broken, but what do we want instead, right? And it's like, but uh, the beginning of it is to play our role in it, like to soften and
Mm-hmm.
to let it in and to be clear about who we are and to
Right,
really
exactly.
offer ourselves into just the world, or in connection with source, in connection with the divine masculine, like relating with that. And I mean, even the tantric idea about how we can pour God through men and become the divine feminine and relate in this like high realm with each other. I think that's what humans want, but we don't know even where to begin. And it starts with women.
Yeah, and I went through a phase where I was like, I'm not dating anybody unless I feel like they're perfect. And I'm not in that phase anymore because I'm like, nobody's really perfect. And the ones that are I don't know them. So I feel like it is a lot more about like, okay, how can I relate to the other and have experiences and then also continue to take care of myself.
Yeah, the sovereign power.
Come back and into my sovereignty and not kind of sell it out, not abandon myself, not you know, dive into the codependency.
Yeah. What is it? What is a relationship beyond codependent? That's one of my huge things. Because
Yeah,
sovereignty isn't being like barriered, it's
right.
actually being really whole, and then open, like allowing the energy, like the people in our lives to come in where they comfortably and healthfully lay.
And right, exactly. And like people get to be who they are and I don't have to change them and I get to be who I am and I can kind of decide, okay, if I need space, I want closeness, space.
Hmm.
But it's not about like that controlling and that codependency. Yeah.
Yeah, the
And
codependent
it's like
and the
the
fairy
letting
tale.
go. Yeah, the fairy tale and the letting God flow through. I just love that. You said
Yeah.
that. Yeah, like that's I think what it all really comes down to.
And men love it. They love that feeling of having God pour through them into us.
Who
They
doesn't,
love it.
right?
Yeah. But it's like, how do you, I mean, that's another thing I'm going to do in this workshop. I mean, it's the work that I already do with people all day long. It's like, how do you just activate that? Like, how do you receive it? How do you interrelate with it? How do you really serve it from a place like our desires and our intuition? We're actually intuiting what a person truly wants from us.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Right.
We have to cultivate that in ourselves first. So if we get together in a beautiful mansion on the beach and like really figure that out from all realms, and women learning the tools that we have and turning them into
Hmm.
their own version of it, I think we should have a guy for a day. We should have some guys to relate to for a day. Like
That'd
get
be
some.
really great. I would love to dive into like Yoni Kriya and like some heart meditations and then kind of like when we're solid with ourselves and then like yeah, introducing in some like models.
Even just initiate, yeah, some models. Even initiating that energy and having men tell us what they're receiving. I mean, it's not, I don't like, I've had some people, I like trying to. We were going to give this retreat in where I live at some of these retreat centers that I know, and they were a little afraid that it would be misconstrued as some kind of sex worker thing. And it's not. It's really just cultivating our sensuality and our truth within ourselves, and then how to relate it to people in the world, but especially into men, because we're all trying to figure out how to do that.
Hmm.
Um, God, there was another thing. What's on your mind, Violet? I'm looking for this one question, but I'm curious. Like, um,
I just have the person in mind that would be good for the male role.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
why?
He's very in tune with his body and very communicative and like kind of, that outgoing quality, which is like, so if somebody is like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, he's able to kind of connect with that and communicate. A
That's
lot of
amazing.
people have a hard time with communicating what they're experiencing or feeling, or
Hmm. And even to let us know how maybe we could elicit that from the men in our world. I mean, imagine just like guy friends or people that we're interested in being able to just communicate on that deep level really naturally. I have a weird thought in my that I mean how amazing it would be to just be comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one of the other things we brought up was like you and I are both like we kind of did the fairy tale thing, been swept off our feet by men. I've had that like just here's a car, here's an apartment, here's an art gallery, here you're mine, and like we've kind of trained to sink into that and look for it. And we have our kid, and then the relationship falls apart, and we're out here creating our lives the way we want. And it's like, well, what do we do now? And there's I call it beyond the fairy tale. The only real marker we have is like being a crone or maybe like a cougar or like perimenopause or something, but it's actually like a really empowered time where we're free from this compulsive desire to procreate and just able to just be in our unadulterated truth. And it's like,
Oh,
what do
such
you
freedom.
yeah.
Such freedom. Yeah, I mean, I think hormones are insanely powerful, and just uh, almost they can be very deceptive. And like having a little bit of space from that power, a little bit of objectivity, with maturity, and after like things have blown up, and you're like, wow, like what was that? A lot of it is just like the compulsive need to procreate. um, and I think that like a bit of objectivity, which we could talk about in terms of like boundaries and setting standards and boundaries, really,
Desires.
desires, and not settling, you know, for
We're
people
not
who
trying
are
to have people be what they're
separate.
not.
Yeah, and that I think that's like the hugest part. When you said that you were swept off your feet, my thought was like I swept myself off my feet, like with my fantasy version of what I thought was going on,
Yeah.
instead of just like uh what was actually like the reality, but also like was it meeting my biggest visions, Was it meeting my biggest path? No, it wasn't, not at all.
No. And we just
Just
like let that
self,
go,
yeah, yeah.
be what it is. And then men, like I know men are like they love a woman, they want to be close to a woman, they feel her power, and then all of a sudden there's this like tidal wave of expectations.
Mm, mm-hmm.
um
Yeah.
there's the woman at first is like so easy to get along with and into everything they're into, and like you know just doing whatever they want, and then all of a sudden it's like they get duped, they all of a sudden they realize they're being manipulated. The woman isn't being honest about who she is, and then they start to resent women. They're afraid. I mean, at our age, they're like afraid of women. I
Yeah.
mean, I know single mothers were like, look, I have my kid doesn't need a father. I have the home. Like, I don't need you to wake me up and make my life for me. I just want to like relate and co-create. And it's like, how do we? Men don't even they don't
Right.
believe us. But so many women don't even know what their desires are.
Yeah, it's the like wash of the neurochemicals too. So you meet somebody and you got this and everything does feel so lovely at first, right? Yeah, so how do we keep our center amidst all that?
Well, we have to know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
People don't know what it is. And there's tools, like there's ancient
right.
tools that we're supposed to use as humans to know what our center is, to feel the
Mm-hmm.
power running through our bodies, to relate that way. And humans just don't even, we're like, let's do ecstasy. Then we can feel it for like a few hours and then it goes away to the opposite. That's so so Violet, what are some of the things that people that the women are going to gather from this experience with us and achieve in the spiritual dominatrix
Yeah, I think there's a
result?
lot of like I said, I'm excited about sort of just helping or initiating women into sort of sinking into that. There's a conscious, and then it's not quite the subconscious, it's somewhere in between that deep sensual space. When I use the word sensual, I mean, actual somatic, but also like the Shakti power.
Mm,
It's like the somatic, but it's also like the Kundalini power.
yeah.
And so like dipping into that, with the clearing, with the physical clearing, then it's a lot easier for that energy to flow. And we're gonna like recognize what it is, where it is, and start to begin to channel it and move it how we want to move it.
Hmm.
Being clear about where we want to move it in our life, but also like in our bodies
And into other people,
and into other people.
whether it's sexually or just walking down the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that starts with the actual body, starts
It
in the
really
body.
does.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean,
You
it's
know,
even a way of practicing yoga. Like, I mean, you could call it yoga, you could call it human body mechanics or whatever, but it actually, when you're doing, I call it tantric yoga, but the advanced level Kundalini yoga too,
yeah.
we're running it like we're using the bandha system. We're actually using our Kegel muscles and using our abdominal muscles to push energy. It's what Joe Dispenza is doing too, to push energy
Right.
up into our head and to push it out into the world and to leave our bodies and to enter other people's bodies and to like go places and experience the different levels of the ether.
Right. And connecting with, right, connecting with, for instance, the the heart energetics and how that connects to the whole world around us, but it starts like right here.
Yeah, it's
So
like a
clearing that
doorway,
out,
a
yeah,
projection.
right. Clearing that out physically, and then, starting to really strengthen, I would say, the different codes running through our bodies at all times
Yeah, to know
and
what
kind
they
of
are,
clear
to
that.
feel them, to be
Right.
intentional with them. I think it's neat
Right.
too, because I've got magnet vessel vortex going on, which is this process of manifestation from, the energetic planes into reality. And you have what's your program called?
Sensual, a
Yeah,
complete
sensual.
course of erotic touch. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're working with the erotic touch, and I work with the not erotic touch, right?
Mhm.
But and we're both kind of like realizing that spiritual dominatrix is actually an amazing way to come together in the physical with people we're working with, and it's like both of our programs kind of like
Yeah,
create a
exactly.
whole,
Yeah, yeah,
but we're also in our sovereign space.
right.
Yeah, yeah, and how it naturally flows together, and it's like
hmm I think
how
dance
can
is a good. I think dance is like a good like point where they both like would flow together. I mean,
yeah.
they obviously, but like dance feels like okay, it's both erotic and non-erotic, right? Like,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah, both of us have belly danced. There's gonna be that. There's gonna
right,
be,
and
I mean, I think we should maybe even go out clubbing one night
yeah, like I mean,
in
dance is
Miami.
so erotically liberating,
Yeah.
and for on a manifestation level, like just literally manifesting through dance.
It'd be fun. This is part of the idea too, is to like spend a few days cultivating our bodies, even dancing every day. I think there's gonna be like art journaling too. And then have the man day, and maybe we could get the men to go out clubbing with us.
hmm Especially the one I'm thinking about. He definitely would do it. He would love that. Actually, he was a dancer. He was actually a dancer.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. I mean, in Miami, or like, I think we'll be like on the outskirts of Miami, but like we could go into the city for a night and just as a horde. Um, and just really, that's okay. So that's another thing I think about a lot is Sexiness is a superpower. Like sexy energy is actually the feminine magnetism, like super activated. And we've been taught that that's supposed to, like, we're actually trying to get laid with that, which isn't true for me. I mean, I've spent so many years, like, I remember, I mean, my dancing, if I really let it rip, it's like too much for me to handle, like the attention I would get and
Yeah.
the energy I'd put out. And even just in general, the sexy energy, if I let it go, it was like too much for me when I was younger. I didn't know how to control what I was creating. So I didn't have, because I was told that if I do that, I'm trying to get laid, and that
Mm.
it's kind of shameful if I really let it rip. And it's, what is it like to
Yeah.
just let that energy flow completely, just to feel it?
Mm. Like you're saying, there's that feeling of danger. It's like dangerous. And not just like the aspect of like the attention that you get, but also it's very confronting. People are very offended by sexy energy. But you know what's really cool is on the other side, I think life moves a lot faster. When you're just
It's,
out there being really sexy, like things just pop off.
it's creative
Come on.
medium,
It's
like
creative
dancing
energy.
with,
It's just like,
yeah.
which is really fun.
I mean, that's what Shiva, I don't know if he was dancing sexy, and he's a dude, but he also is kind of in the feminine too. He's like a balance, and
Yeah.
like he uses his destructive dance to create,
Mm. Uh-huh.
to like disseminate things that aren't meant to exist, and to like to integrate with the creative matter. And I mean, if you think about like, I think having it mean that we're trying to get laid is debilitating for our expression of it, because we have to protect ourselves if we don't want to get laid, you know. But to let it just be, and let it just uh exist as much as we want it to, and to comfortably play with it, and then if we do decide to interrelate physically with another person, when we really know what we're doing, like that version of sex or physicality or romantic connection is so powerfully creative. Like we use that, we can use it, we're supposed to use it to create things in the world, not just humans, but like
Right,
reality we want.
right, right. Yeah, the kind of semen is a very uh nutrient rich material. And then of course, the feminine fluids are also very nutrient rich. So just like thinking of it from like the biochemical perspective of how like, oh wow, that's so potent. It's
Mhm.
like the elixir of, life.
Charged with the most like potent, beautiful energy that we can harness, like expressing that
Right,
together.
right. And right, like in and of itself, even like in the mundane world, it's very potent and powerful. And then pairing that with like the consciousness and like the intentionality, like boom,
Yeah,
the Big Bang.
yeah. But how many women actually know how to do that? How many men know that that's what they're looking to experience out of women, and know how to
Mm-hmm.
offer their side of it?
Mm-hmm. I think somewhere very deep we all do know, but it's
Yeah.
like very, very deep,
Yeah, we definitely all know, but it's been like
very
shut
hidden.
down. Even
Yeah.
our spiritual belief systems, like our spiritual structures, have like brahmacharya or celibacy and the holy people or whatever. It's like, at
Mm-hmm.
first we could think about like, oh, they're just trying to keep our creative power down, but actually the practice of tantra and the interplay of asceticism and tantric enlightenment, it's like, and brahmacharya, the withholding of sexual energy, it is actually to let it like boil and build, and it's creating it and contributing to it, and then when we express it, doing it deliberately and intentionally. So it's part of that process. With the tantra too, just experiencing things energetically and then choosing to bring them into the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in our cosmic timelines, we've had this period of suppression in order to incubate, and then, but now, especially with like the AI and all of these structures of enlightenment that we've created, and these beings that take over our rote tasks, like our repetitive tasks. It's like we're coming into a time when we could really express that energy, and
Hmm.
it's needed, like for humans to dip into the higher
Yeah.
version of ourselves.
Yeah, I'm reading your book, and you talk about moving back into the next, or moving into the next yuga.
Yeah.
So the Satya.
Yeah, that's not you. Like we can choose to go there. There's some people that are going to ride out the Kali Yuga till the bitter end, but I think at this point we can just like nope,
Yeah,
I'm in the mass enlightenment. This is my
I like that. I love that. It's so liberating. Like, oh, I'm gonna opt out of this and into this.
I'm in this other dimension. I mean, that's what a spiritual practice is to be like, nope, I'm not doing this. I live in this dimension now. Like we just take the elevator up to that next floor until we have an office there. And
And I think letting the erotic energy build, like you were saying, like that versus oppressing it
yeah,
or pushing it down, like it's just very different.
yeah,
Letting it build, there's still, it's very erotic still.
it's
It's just
amazing.
not like expending it outward
Yeah,
yet until you choose to,
you choose to.
which,
It's the
which is the,
oshas.
yeah, which is the ultimate, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we
So
want. We want to be able to direct it.
yeah. I know you and I are unpartnered, but we're still creating that, like generating that energy in ourselves. I think a lot of people are doing that, and then like waiting for the space where we can truly express it and truly connect. Um, so why not just claim that and actually have a method behind it, and have tools to even express it, and to have our desires known and our boundaries, and like to be able to be completely present in whatever situation, but especially like in that feminine masculine polar magnetism tension.
Be like going to, a mix of, like a really uh, high-end luxury kind of spa environment mixed with, a training retreat mixed with like the natural mixed with like a really amazing, festival of like ecstatic dancing.
Yeah, that's my whole vision. That's what I
So
want
like,
to.
you know, it's almost like what we're talking about, the brahmacharya into the retreat,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
to generate all of that, right? And then
and then
you
the
can
explosion.
you
Mhm.
can just choose where to direct that energy.
And then to send, and then to send women, starting with women, but also these men that we work with, out into the world with these tools and this understanding completely embodied back into their lives,
Right, right.
with that immersion and that transformation. And 5 days, enough time to really feel it, and with the tools to feel. It's not just like, you know learning about trigger points. I'm going to teach people, like, because I know all the trigger points, the marma points, the meridians, the structural alignment, the neuromuscular massage, all of that, like how to really rock someone's world in 20 minutes kind of thing, like even just having those tools, and how to like get deeply in our bodies and connect all that, like you're talking about, connecting all systems online, and just going out in the world and knowing how to do that, and knowing what it feels like, and all the effects of it.
And the winter solstice portal is always a very potent time. Also, like just that kind of switching, going from the dark to the light, and that incubation period.
Yeah, tell me about, you said you've had some really profound experiences in the winter solstice. Tell me about that.
I mean, just every year, my third eye just sort of opens up, and um, I just become extremely telepathic, and yeah, like just able to kind of read people's minds and connect with people that aren't there, that are far away.
I
Hmm.
bet that happens to all of us.
Tons of downloads and, just direct connection with God
Cool. We'll
in
have
the
to
dark,
make a
God
lot
in the
of.
flesh, Mary, or, Shiva or
Yeah, all the archetypal incarnations of God. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. I bet that. I mean, I bet we all have some version of that on
Well,
on
yeah, I mean, we've always had the celebrations around these times for
yeah,
reasons, for
yeah.
portals.
Yeah, we'll make a lot of art. I think something that's really, really been powerful for me is like I'm gonna give everybody a big, beautiful journal, and we're gonna get in the practice of just like kind of wildly making art in this personal book. And I think the solstice day, having a big period of time of just free creative flow and dance, and that'll be amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm so excited, Violet. I think we should talk more. It's such a potent conversation with you.
Yeah, this is really fun. I love it.
Do you have anything
Mhm.
else you want to say to the world before we close this podcast?
No, I don't think so. I look forward to dancing on a beach around a bonfire on the solstice. Let's do it.
Gonna be amazing. Yeah, I'm really excited to see who joins us. It's gonna be
Hmm.
perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just ended it.